Today I'm going to take you through the process of upgrading Survival Game Kit from 1.73 to 1.74. There are a number of fixes in here, and we're going to step through each one. If you'd like to follow along, you can go to diffusestudios.com and look at their patch notes and look at the 1.74 Hotfix section. Now to begin, go ahead and open up your Survival Game Kit, and this will be for the ALS and Survival Game Kit version. There will be a few differences here and there through the process based on whether or not you're using my tutorials to merge ALS. If not, I'll make a note of where things may vary, and we'll try to keep it to where you can still follow the same tutorial with just the plain Survival Game Kit. To begin with, let's look at the first one where the error that he's fixing is picking up building parts with no owner's requirement. So what they would like is for people are asking, and this was in the Discord that it was requested, is to be able to pick up a building part that has a no owner set, and multiple people can pick that up. So it's not just the person who's placed the item has the ability to pick it up. You can place an item in the world that anyone can pick up, or maybe you could limit it in your game to be part of your clan or whatever kind of grouping systems you end up having. So to start this, let's go ahead and open up the player building component. We need to go to content, and under search content, search for player building, and then you'll see the player building component. Go ahead and double click and open that. In there, we need to get to a certain section. So in the upper left, search for check, delete conditions. Double click that. And in here, we need to add a branch. So it will be added right after this is valid. So go ahead and expand the comment box out to the left. Highlight everything from the is delete after valid to the left, and then move it. Now what we'll do is we're going to drag off of is valid and create a branch. The condition, though, we need to refer to the delete actor. So we need to right click in a blank area and type get delete actor, and then choose that from the non-edit category. But from this, we need to drag off and do a get owner require. You see here, there's get owner required building, not the interact, but the building. Go ahead and click that. Then drag that up to the condition. Now, based on whether this is true or false, we need to go around this check owners category. To do this, we're going to have to connect into this part of the branch, right after this branch here, this what it comes out of true. What I'll do is double click there, and then I'm going to drag from false all the way over to that reroute node I just created. Now double click on the right after the false, and let's reroute that along the bottom. And you can double click in a couple of places and get it how you'd like it looking. So I'm also, while I'm here, I might as well just fix this a little bit. There we go. So this should match what he's looking for. If it's false, then it routes around and it doesn't check for the owner, and it still allows the piece to be picked up. Next, what we're going to fix is a player inventory error. So you'll want to compile and save that building component, and then you'll be able to close it. Now we want to open up the player inventory component. So rather than player building, let's type player inventory and open that up. We're going to be in the main event graph. So double click on the event graph to the left. And the section that we're going to be looking for is close interact menu. As you can see in this blue section, there's a lot of things. So instead of searching all of these, I'm actually going to search it on the upper left. So search there, close interact, and you'll see close interact menu. Now, but the place that we're going to want to add a difference here is between these two nodes. We're going to put it is valid there. So what I'll do is drag out the right side, then that, and I'm going to bring these all the way to the left. Let's see if we can fit it in as valid there. So drag off of the stop interact menu or interact timer. If it is valid, click the white question mark. I'm going to need a little bit more room. So what I can do is move those blueprints that are to the right of it, move those over a little bit. And that gives me enough room to put our is valid. So the thing that we're going to want to check though is this inventory HUD. We want to make sure this inventory HUD is valid before we try to remove it. Otherwise you might get an error. I'm going to straighten these out by selecting them both. You can control click the other one and then hit Q to line those up. And then what I'll do is just connect inventory HUD to that is valid check. So if it's valid, it will then remove the menu. And that should correct that inventory error. So go ahead and compile and save that. Go ahead and close the player inventory component. And we're going to change something with the elevator. So from the main screen, go ahead and click content. And let's do a search for BP_elevator. Open that up. And then on the left, expand event graph and see if there's an event begin play. I don't see an event begin play here. So I think we're going to have to create this from scratch. So just in an area that's open here, I'm going to do it to the right of the set highlight on. I'm going to right click. I'm going to put event begin play. Create that. And I'm going to need to create a variable from this. So to get the value that we're going to be placing in there, I'm going to do a right click and get actor location. From this, I'm going to drag off. And let's see, what we're creating is get start location, but that doesn't exist yet. So what we can do is drag off and just choose promote to variable. Connect that to the event begin play. And then let's name the variable. We'll call it start location. We do want to replicate this. We'll hit the drop down on replication and put replicated. Another one that we're going to want to create is a variable. And so on the left side, so we have our start location. The other one that we're going to want to create is a float called up amount. So go ahead and click plus on variable. Type up amount. On the right hand side, where it says Boolean, go ahead and change that to float. Compile it. We need to set the default value to 700. Now we need to open up the elevator timeline that is in the event graph. So you can see here towards the bottom. So if you go to this last section, there's a timeline here. What we need to do is we need to change this so that this value is different for the max value. So we need to select where it says 5. The value is actually the up and down, so that's 700, but it's at 5 seconds. And then we need to change the value to 1. So you see here where it says time and then value. Go ahead and change that to 1. Now you can compile and save that. Now go ahead and go back to the event graph because we're going to add some extra information here after that, that timeline. So let's go ahead and make some room first. Drag the comment box out farther, and then you can drag this other comment box out a little bit farther as well. We want to then move some of these things because we're not going to be using these get actor location in the same way because it's not going to be going into this, but we are going to have a get actor location. So we can keep this, but we can delete this set relative location because that is not going to be used. First, let's just work our way through this. Let's go from height, drag that out. Let's do a lerp. Hit enter. So it should just say lerp. And this lerp isn't going to go into A, it's actually going to go into alpha. So go ahead and control click and drag that to alpha. And we need to get the start location. So there's a start location that we created. Drag that out onto the screen and do a get. We're then going to break this. So drag out and hit break that vector. And the value that we're getting, since it's an elevator and only goes up and down, we're going to do Z. So Z can go into A. So that's going to be the starting location. But we need to also put the max location that it's going to. So that will be dragged out from Z again, hit plus, and it'll be float plus float. And the value that we're going to be putting into this is the up amount. So that up amount we have on the lower left that we created, drag that into the second pin. And what we can do is, let's clean this up a little bit because this does look kind of messy. The main concern that we have is that this value goes into the B because it's going to be going from A to B. We will straighten these out a little bit. From this value, we're going to make a vector. So let's go ahead and bring this get actor location down. And then drag off of the return value X and search for make. And then vector. We're making this vector and we're going to use the values from X, Y, and then we're going to use the value from the Z of the lerp. Then from this, we're going to set an actor location. So when it says update on the elevator, go ahead and drag that out. Do set actor location. Now go ahead and connect up the return value to the new location. And you can do a compile and save. Now we're going to go through and we will be fixing an issue with the red dot. The ADS location camera on the red dot was having an issue. It wasn't lined up. So go ahead and close the BP elevator. And then we want to find the red dot site. So we need to go content on the left and then search for red dot site. There'll be a blueprint. Open that up. And we need to search with the location. So go ahead and type location. And you can see here some values. For the M484, we have here 19.85 these values need to change. The second value here is not too far up, but the first and the X and the Z are pretty far. So let's do, for the first one, a negative 0, 0, 0, 2, 1, 3. So, all right, a negative needs to be a negative dot 0, 0, 0, 2, 1, 3. For the second one, do 17.604.624. And for the third one, do a negative 8.834915. So they should match these right here. For the 1982, do 11.484642. The second one, do 17.527187. For the third one, do negative 12.626343. And then reset this rotation to 0. For some reason it was rotated a little bit. So all the rotations should be 0. And then those should be the adjusted numbers. So you can pause here if you need to take a look at that. Go ahead and close that after you've saved it. The next fix is going to be the hammer not damaging building parts. And so let's go ahead and start by opening up the hammer blueprint. So under search, go to content and then search for BP_hammer. Open up that BP_hammer blueprint. And then expand out this last defaults here to the right. What I want to do is I want to search for damage values. And we have head, chest, arms, and legs. What I want to do is hit a plus here to add another element. And if it's none, we're going to put that to 10. So if you're damaging the head, chest, arms, and legs, it will be a certain value. And then for the none, so that would be if it's damaging a building part, for example, and not a body, you still want it to do damage to a building. It just allows people to break buildings with a hammer. So go ahead and compile and save that. And then you can close the BP hammer. Now we're going to fix an issue where the inventory is still open if a storage component was destroyed that you were in. This fix will be in the player building component. So in content and then search for player building component. Double click and open that up. And then we need to go to the build type destroy. So in the upper left, let's do a search for build type destroy. And you'll see a section right there. And double click. We want to be towards the end of this because we're going to have to go through and rework a number of these nodes. We will need to create an array. There's a couple things that we'll have to do, but we'll step through this and get it fixed. So, and one thing it does say to note, it says you will need to create the destroyed player array variable, set it to the player inventory component variable, and change it to an array. So let's go ahead and do that first. So click plus for variable. Let's call it destroyed player. And put it, you don't have to put a space there. So destroyed player. On the top right, we want to put this and change the type to player inventory component. Then on the right side of that, there's a little icon saying component. You need to click that and choose array, which is the colored boxes. Go ahead and compile and save that. Now let's go through and start straightening out some of these blueprints, because I'm going to be putting all the blueprints from the delete actor transform forward. And so we're going to move this select delete to the very end. This output, go ahead and kind of drag that up to the top because it just needs to be out of the way. We're going to create probably about this amount of empty space in the comment. Now drag this select delete event, kind of put it down to the lower right. Then from the delete actor transform, let's drag off and do an is valid. And you'll do the white question mark there. Now, what are we going to check for as valid? We need to right click and get delete actor. Use the one under non-edit that has the circle. From here, we need to drag off and get component by class. And this will be the get component, not the get components. Now, this thing that we're going to have to pick a particular class, we need to do BP storage inventory component. So select that for the component and drag this return value into that is valid. One thing that we can do is this is valid at the end. We currently have the final output coming from is valid. Let's go ahead and change that because we're going to be putting a bunch of things off of is valid, but this will end up going to is not valid. So control click and drag that. You can double click on this line and let's just drag it so it drops down immediately here. It's kind of off to the side and we'll have some other things feed into this. From this get component by class, we need to drag off of that and do a get player array. From this, we need to set the destroyed player that we created. And put that right afterwards and have the is valid go straight into that. You can straighten this and clean it up a little bit. Now we want to get the length of this list because we don't know how many are in here. So let's drag off of the set destroyed player and do a length. And this is just going to tell us how many items are in that array. What we want to know is there more than one? Is there one or more? So do a greater than integer. So integer greater than integer. Leave that to 0. We want to make sure that there's something in there. Then we want to do a branch. So off of destroyed player, drag off and type branch. Put the output of the Boolean check on the greater than 0 and drag that into condition. The false, we want to drag down into this line here. So go ahead and drag it down to that line that we have going along the bottom. We still need to create a little more room because this is still not big enough. And drag the comment box a little bit farther right if you need to. I'm going to move this selective delete event farther to the right. Now from the true of that branch we just created, we're going to be doing a for each loop, but we need to get the array first, and that's the destroyed player array. So right click and put get destroyed player array. Now this is a little bit different, so let's double check this. One thing that he did slightly different in his directions is that he didn't name this destroyed player. He called it destroyed player array. So that's fine. Let's go ahead and select it. And in the upper right, you can change the name, or I just double clicked on the left. We'll call this destroyed player array. That way there's no confusion in the future as we're dealing with this. So let's go ahead and drag that destroyed player array out into the open area and do a get on it. Then we're going to do a for each loop off of this. So drag that array and do a for each loop. I'm going to drag the true to that. And then we're going to drag completed down to this bar here. So I'm just going to put a note on there. Put completed to there. And then the loop body, I'm going to drag off and do client toggled inventory. We want the target to be the array element. So there we go. This should resemble looking about like this. So if you want to compare, make sure you have all those sections in there. So that should then close that inventory. Now we need to go and fix an issue where the placeable building parts were interactable after being destroyed, because you destroy something, they shouldn't be able to be interacted with anymore. So first, let's compile and save this player building component. Then you can close it. Now we need to do a search. So select content and do a search for the master build part. You'll see BP master build part. Go ahead and open that up. We need to be in is interactable. So on the left side in search, put in there is interactable, and you'll see an interface there for that. We need to put some more conditions in here. So first of all, we will be using the is interactable. There's an interactable variable here, Boolean. Drag off of that and search for and. You'll see and Boolean. Well, we need to put another thing here. So right click and do a get pending destroyed. Then from that, we need to drag off of pending destroy and do a not. See where it says not Boolean? We want to drag that into the second and. Then the result of that and we need to put into the return node. Go ahead and link this up. Okay, so this should be what it resembles. It is checking not only is the item interactable, but also is it not pending a destroy. But we still have a little more to change, but we're going to still do it in the master build part. However, we're going to do it in the damage taken. So in the left side, search for damage taken. See a function there for that. Double click on it. We need to put a branch after this branch that's in the middle. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of room to do this. Expand the comment out a little bit to the left. Highlight everything that is from those two boxes on the left and move them slightly more to the left. Now from this branch, go ahead and drag off of it. Type another branch. Delete that because we don't need that second one as it is. And the check that we're going to do is for current health. Right click and do get current health. We need to do is a greater than 0 check. So drag off of the current health and do greater than, and check integer greater than integer. Leave that at 0 and drag it into the condition. Okay, and I'm just going to clean this up so it's sitting here and easy to read. Okay. So this will now check that her health is greater than 0, and if it is, continue. You won't be able to mess with it after that. One more thing we have to do to fix this issue, and this one is in the inventory HUD. So go ahead and compile and save this master build part. Go ahead and then close it. And in content, let's search for inventory HUD. There should be the BP inventory HUD. Open that up and go to the graph. Inside of the graph, we need to do a search in the upper left for get build part health visibility. Double click that. And then we're going to add something pretty close to the very end. So what you could do is perhaps, if you wanted to, you could just move some of this code that doesn't need to be exactly right there. Start dragging some things to the left. keep some of the same space. Now from this top of the cast, above cast failed, drag off of that and let's do a branch. And what we're checking is based on this as BP master build part. Drag off of that. And let's do a get pending destroyed. If it's get pending destroyed, we're going to change our behavior a little bit. Drag up to that condition. I'm going to clean up these blueprints a little bit. Okay, so the true is actually going to go down to this hidden. The false is going to go up to the top node where it says visible. And so we have our cast failed going into the hidden. We have the true going into hidden. And then we have false going into visible. And then this false all the way over here to the left was going into hidden. So it should resemble this. Go ahead and take a look. If you need to, go ahead and pause and get them all made. Well, that should correct that issue. That remains one more issue that we need to fix. And this one has to do with crouching. So this may be a little bit different if you're using a survival game kit only. If you're following this saying I only have survival game kit and I'm trying to fix something. But let's go into the first person anim. Double click on that. You need to do a search for first person anim. And in here, we need to be in the event graph and set character variables. If you're not there, you can do a search on the left and find that set character variables, but I'm already here. So I'm going to work in this section. What we want to do is go to is character crouching. And it's right in the middle here. You see is character crouching. So this section towards the middle, second one in. And then from here, we need to change these. So right now it's checking the player inventory component for crouching. We don't want to do that. We're going to actually check in the true Unreal way if something is crouching. So you can delete those two in the middle and drag off of character. And let's get movement component. From there, we're going to drag off and we're going to do is crouching. So it's going to check with the move component. It's going to check with the is crouching function. If it is, it will send a true or a false. We're going to do something very similar in the third person, but let's see, because I'm going to show you how to do this. I need to make something very clear. We are not using the third person with advanced locomotion system. We're not using the third person blueprint, character blueprint. So if you're using survival game kit only, then you're going to do something a little bit differently. So just for a moment, I'm going to show you where this is in survival game kit. If you're using advanced locomotion system and you've been following my tutorials, do not do what I'm about to tell you. I mean, you could change it. You're more than welcome to, but you're not using it. It's not going to affect what is happening. So type third person. You'll see the third person anim here. And you are more than welcome. That's the thing, is you are welcome to make this change. Double click on the event graph to the left. But just remember, this one is not being used. On the left-hand side, type set character variables. And then we need to find in here the character is player crouching. And that's kind of in the middle area up top. You can see it right here. We're going to do the very same thing. We're going to delete these two, drag off of, but for me, it's ALS-based character because I've redone some of it, and get movement component. From this, we're going to drag off and get is crouching. And then we'll connect that up into crouching. Pile, and you can save that. So if you're using this survival game kit version, that will correct that issue. But let's go and take a look, because this may not exist in our ALS version. So if you're using advanced locomotion system, go to characters, clear that search, go to mannequin. And let's open up the mannequin anim BP. go to the event graph, and let's try to find crouching. Okay, so we have crouching here. I'm going to right click and put find references. And what we want to do is look at these sets. Okay, so here's one place where this is being referenced. So this will correct an issue with possibly with crouching detection, maybe with the upper body. Delete these two that are in between. We're going to drag off of the ALS based character and get movement component. We'll return value we'll get is crouching. And then we will put that value into the crouching. The rest of these are all gets. So that will be the only place that we're setting crouching. You can see here, they're all different. They're just getting the fact that they're crouching, which is important because this is determining how the character will move. And so it was giving some inconsistent states, which was the problem that they were running into. So that completes the 1.74, and hopefully you found this helpful. If you found any issues with what I did or what I said, feel free to leave a comment, or you could go onto the Discord that we have. If you go to the description below, there is a link for the Discord. There's also a link for my Patreon if you want to help support the channel and you want to help me get assets that I can use in future tutorials. One last thing before we close this out is I want to change this version number because I always want to remember what version I'm on in Survival Game Kit. And so on this inside of the level, go ahead and click the version. In the text to the right, we are now on 1.74. You can hit save all. And now we're good. We're on 1.74. We should have all of the patches put in compatible for the Survival Game Kit or the ALS and Survival Game Kit mode. Thank you very much for hanging out and doing this tutorial with me, and I will catch you all later.